try and force you to pick the Jinx at the same time by taking away your picks. And also EDG are potentially saving the last pick for Koro. We talked about how this Fiora matchup into Riven wasn't that great for him, also because he got ganked so many times. So they want to at least have the flex option of Kennen or go something completely different in that top lane.
A lot of pressure then for Koro in this last pick. He's had a difficult game to bounce back from, and mentality in the EDG camp will be something we'll have to look at. Huni will once again get his hands on Riven. He had a 73 CS advantage at 20 minutes over Koro.
Yeah, Fnatic go hard here. 3 extremely strong carries in each lane here for Fnatic. Or 1 in each lane, obviously.
Thanks for clarifying. I would never have known that, Kobe. And it's going to be the Darius lock-in for Koro.
So it's a little bit of the same in terms of the matchup. I do think Darius is better in the early game, though, when it comes to punishing the Riven. However, the problem is when Fnatic pick a champion like Riven that can get out of control, they will camp for that champion. So it's not just Huni 1v1ing someone, it's 2 or 3 guys coming down.
Also, you know, obviously I haven't been able to spy on them in scrims, but doing my best to spy on Koro in solo queue, his Darius has not been his best champion. Of the new ones trying to pick up, Darius has been one of the worst for him. And that's why they, I think, hesitated to pick it before this. But we'll see how he does into Huni's Riven this time around. Obviously, you know, both of these junglers can have a huge effect.
And this is also a much more well-rounded combo around a Kassadin. Not like the one where they try to siege with 5 melee champions and so on, because you have wave clear on a Sivir, you have a fairly strong 2v2 lane because you have Kennen support and you have Darius up top, so you have strong side lanes to back up the Kassadin and prevent that siege in mid. That's going to be key for EDG.
The other key thing is trying to lock that Riven down. You know, CC is her biggest weakness. Lock her down and make her a reset for Darius. That's the key to their team fight.
And we'll find out whether or not Fnatic want to once again camp for Huni, which has proved so successful. Will they be the first and only team to qualify for 3 World Championship semi-finals? Jump on Twitter with hashtag FNCWin. Or will EDG start the comeback here and now? It's game 3 of the quarterfinal.
Talking about lockdown, though, honestly, if I am Huni looking at this EDG lineup, I'm not scared. It's only a support Kennen that will get blown up really quickly and a small mini stun there to try and interrupt the combos.
But if you are Huni and looking at this EDG lineup, you might just fear for the life of your AD carry. Because the Darius and the Kassadin and so on are not going to be standing there hitting Huni. They're going to obviously try and jump past him, get onto Reckless, where his peel is going to be the Azir wall, though it's going to be the Alistar, so it's decent what Fnatic has built there to protect him. It's just not a Tahm Kench.
You're a much nicer top laner than I am. I think out only for #1. I don't care about my AD carry. If they're diving my AD carry, that means I'm free to rip apart the rest of it. Deficio team player.
Always.
Scumbag Kobe. Now Febiven is going to be once again facing off against Pawn. The last time we did see these two play, Pawn is able to get a little bit of a pressure advantage early on, managing to dance around those sand soldiers relatively effectively.
Yeah, it was definitely a good lane matchup for EDG. Definitely something that Fnatic have also shown is they continue to pick for the team rather than individual lane matchups.
And that's something a team has done for a very long time, in fact. They've come out and spoken publicly about it as well, where if players say they are not 100% comfortable, but for the team, for the strategy, for the play, it'll work. EDG walked over that ward, so Fnatic should be aware something is up.
Yeah, they saw the ward being placed 100%, and it's just EDG trying to scout where Fnatic is starting, so they can see, okay, if Reyno is starting on red buff here, where's he going to path next? Obviously, what he has done before in these lane swaps is then you try and invade into the enemy jungle, but you can't do that in this case, at least for now, because it's the Mako and Deft company on the bottom side.
No invade there from Fnatic. They just kind of get the surprise lane swap on EDG. And they're able to get up there very quickly. Yellowstar with the invade to interrupt the double jungle here as well.
Wow.
Huge amount of extra damage taken.
We're going to use exhaust. Real bothersome. Red buff. Let's see. Lost auto attack. Is Yellowstar going to steal it? No,
might have to use a flash to get out of here.
Exhaust and flash to delay what, 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe?
Here's the thing. I really do like the support invades to delay jungle like that, because jungle and top lane are two of the biggest playmakers in the early stages of the game, because top lane is your teleport, jungler is the one working with Fog of War, moving around the map. So taking them both out, delaying them both, greatly reduces EDG's ability to make plays in the early stages of this game.
Make sure you leave before the buff dies, though. And a guy hits level 2. So
the execution is a different...
definitely a good job from the other side. First, though, being annoying. We're going to see the fast push once again. EDG showed in the last game, also in the first game of today. They also want to opt into this lane swap strategy. And this is still the problem for Fabian. He's picking this matchup as he enters Castellan, knowing that he's going to struggle in lane because Castellan can out-sustain him with the flask and 3 potions and just keep trading shields into his face.
Paul takes a lot of damage from that Sand Soldier, though. The Conquering Sand sending him forward. Reignover tried this gank before. This time hits the Brave Seeker. Once again, flashes, gets the knock up, and will trade his flash for pawns.
We'll see if they can return, you know, before Flash comes back up, before Pawn gets level 6. Maybe now that will be enough to curb the aggression, but they would have to just plant that with a bunch of wards as well. Koro going to get solo gold.
Still a very good gank from Reignover, basically saying, we lost this lane matchup before. Pre-level 6 Cassidy, we're gonna bully you. They saw 3 guys on the bottom side of the tower, so they weren't afraid of face-checking into the bush, even in the 2v2 against the level 3 Cassidy. So I like the gank for Reignover trading flash, as long as he can return. Obviously, it's the key thing. Don't let him get level 6, jump away. But really for EDG, right now, it's just about farm up your Cassidy in the mid lane, and then once we hit like 14 minutes, around that time, you swap him down to the side lane, you put Sivir in mid lane as the wave clear, and you just play this 1-3-1 setup again. Yeah,
not having flash pre-6 in the mid lane for Kassadin completely changes the face of the entire lane. Pawn has to play so much more careful. He has to now use his Q mana cost on trying to get CS, and that greatly reduces the harassment. That's why I think vision around mid lane now is going to become extremely important. Fibivin does have some already in place of his own, so...
And he's got support. Huni's already peeling back through his jungle. Reignover's hovering or shadowing off the bottom side of that river. And Huni not running the risk of getting dove up top. Just gets spotted by Clear Love. They're going to do a little bit of a battle over this Murk Wolf. Clear Love should win out.
Right here, though, again, we see for the 2 top laners, Koro is very quickly to leave his lane, even though he might be able to get a few CS down there while the wave is obviously going to bounce towards him and just trying to shove it back because he knows Reckless is going to show up and push it back the other way anyway. He leaves instantly. Huni always stays, gets a few extra CS, and it can matter. It might just be, you know, 2 minions total, but that experience can give you that 1 level up you need to beat him then later on.
What do we make of another trade? Top Fnatic tower for bottom EDG tower. Just straight up saying, you do you. Avarice Blade was picked up early by Deft to the second Dorans for Reckless.
Yeah, and you mentioned being greedy. Huni, once again, he's getting a little bit of experience here, gets into the range of the minions dying, but being greedy does have its cost sometimes. There's a teleport here, or there's a ward here they can teleport on, and Clear Love's already in place. It looks like seeing Rek'Sai is enough to dissuade EG from going for that tower dive. Or does it just delay it?
So it's not about clearing the ward. TP can still happen. Look at the positioning of Koro at his tier 2 tower. He's just waiting. And now Huni realizes, okay, I don't have backup anymore. Move away. EDG, though, if they pull the trigger instantly, we're talking again 20 seconds ago, they might have been able to force something of Huni, but that would have cost the TP here. Now, no flash in mid.
Yeah, they don't pull the trigger, though, and Fnatic go for the move mid.
The Flash Emperor's Divide sends Pawn to Reignover. Reignover's only level 4, though, and unable to get more damage down. Pawn can Rift Walk to safety. This will buy some time for tower damage, but they don't get the kill.
Again, they force him away. They make sure Fabian can push this mid lane. And now with these outer turrets gone in the side lanes, I'm almost going to say that's going to favor Fnatic because of the fact that Darius is this low mobility
they're going to make the counterplay on bottom.
Huni is teleporting in for Koro. Flash comes out, followed by Yellow Star, and Fnatic should pick this one up real clean, real simple, and it's first blood to Huni.
I really like this play. Just very quickly got to talk about how getting these towers down, Darius with so little mobility, only has the flash, he's just stuck there. Fnatic instantly just capitalize and kill him.
The reason why Huni can afford to play that aggressive is because Riven has not only 2 dashes, not only flash as Koro also does, but 2 dashes in her kit, very mobile, and he was looking to outplay that. So EDG don't pull the trigger, but they forget about the mirror play, the exact same play on the bottom side, and Koro gets himself even deeper into a hole. Huni had already, by the way, been able to leech half a level lead just from being in minion wave range, whereas Koro was not in range. So now he's just skyrocketing ahead. If they do meet up in the side lanes, it will be a massacre.
And because EDG, when they were trying to make this play on the top side, they hesitated. They were waiting and waiting and waiting. Reignover shows that, like, okay, guys, we're not going to go for the play. So that allowed Huni to get almost a full wave of experience. Just a difference in teams and how quick they are to pull the trigger, how confident they are in this play.
And the jungler as well. Because Reignover just did a drive-by, he went and did an extra camp. So all things, Fnatic really not wasting time.
And another
he already losing it.
Good start here for Fnatic. If you step back and you look at EDG, Koro's gone back to this more tanky champion in Darius, substituted out in place of Amazing J, and EDG, they had a good start with that triple TP comp, but really it's been downhill from there. EDG just not challenging Fnatic just yet.
Koro is pretty screwed right now. He's been relegated to the jungler, the worst place for a top laner. Koro just trying to scavenge in EDG's jungle, and he is ridiculously far behind, trying to catch up here. But as you said, it's scary for him to extend in any lane.
It's always the problem about Darius is he's not really a split pusher. Because of the fact he cannot escape, he cannot really chase you down, he's a much better team fighter. So while EDG wants to 1-3-1, that's just to farm. They want to then group in together and fight with this comp here, pop that Sivir ulti, get to the backline of Fnatic. But if they start falling behind in these lanes here, especially if Huni once again gets going on this Riven, nobody can 1v1 him on the side of EDG. So that's a split pushing advantage for Fnatic, while Febvin is sitting and just wave playing mid over and over.
Well, I like, again, the early Sightstone here from Reignover, trying to get vision to keep this lead that they have.
Again, calculated play from Fnatic, setting up around that dragon. We've got a numbers advantage down there. Good early game. 9 first bloods out of 9 games played. Fnatic really know how to get their players ahead when they pick a lane together.
Yeah, exactly. This lead that they have is transitioning into a big CS lead for Reckless as well. Because they have the advantage, they can rotate him over to the giant minion wave to pick that up. And he got a huge influx of cash recently. Now he's got the BF sword pushing up on secondary turret bottom. Fnatic also have the wards to back it up.
Huni should not be too greedy now though, because his team is making a play on the bottom side of the map. Kassa, this is the swap we talked about earlier, how you put Sivir in mid to wave play and defend with towers, and Kassa goes to side lane. It's very difficult for him right now because of the fact Fnatic is already grouped and start pushing in on the tower. But that means Huni needs to be careful top because his team is on bottom side and he's doing a camp.
He's in trouble. Huni gets caught out and he's going to get dropped. Flashes over the wall. Broken wings out. Doesn't find the Baron wall. Manages to survive. Can Fnatic do the same thing down bottom? Pawn has been chunked to half HP. And the rest of Fnatic are sieging onto the tower.
That's the thick part of the wall.
Kobe, you're still stuck on that one. Fnatic get a bunch of autos onto that bottom inner turret. And Huni loses his flash for overextending. The dragon is still not secured yet, but Fnatic will now back away after having a little more time on that tower and a little more information.
And as a perfect example, Darius is a champion who could not have made that escape. Riven, much easier to overextend and play greedy like that. Now that he doesn't have his flash, obviously, they're going to have to wait for wards to do that again. But the advantage has already been gained, and they're snowballing with it.
And we really just get to see, in a lane swap, it's so much more than just, okay, we killed the first tower, lane swap is over. No, it's the play's happening 5-6 minutes after again, because the way you set up the minion wave, the tower should push down. Can you get that TP play where you 4v1 kill the enemy top laner and so on? And Fnatic just executed that really well. Would still like to see Huni just back away from that top side. He likes to risk it and stay and say, oh, can I make a play
Gotta
here?
risk it for the biscuit, Devicio.
You gotta risk it for the dragon buff.
And Fnatic make it count. Take a look at this. Febvin, 20 CS advantage. Reckless, 10 CS advantage. Yes, Huni is down, 10 CS, but He got that first blood, he's got some time, and he's actually still ahead in gold thanks to the towers.
And as I said, they've been funneling, you know, the large minion wave over to the other side, so the bank still coming in.
And the key thing for top laners here is not the gold right now, it's the experience. They're even at the moment, so despite Huni having to flash away. Nice trade in the mid lane though. Will become a problem for Fnatic. These one-on-ones happening.
Speaking of CS leads, that early gank from Reignover really changed the face of that matchup.
The last time this played out was in that game that was remade. The only game where Fnatic did not score first blood. So as a team, they have 100% win rate officially when scoring first blood. Useless stat 101. EDG are grouped up in this middle lane. Got some pressure with their entire team here.
You're
gonna wave clear.
Siege with a Cassid and Darius? Nice.
You have an auto attack reset of your W. That's crazy to see right there. Boom, W in the face.
Hashtag worth.
Problem for EDG was they had to use teleport back to lane in mid to defend the tower and then push it out. So now that split pushing component that was supposed to put pressure on Fnatic is not there.
I think it's a very clear point though there. EDG, they obviously know that they don't have much they can get outside of chasing somebody down with a Sivir ultimate in open ground. This is a Stampede comp, that's what they have to do. So Fnatic, they also know this, they're playing around it while they're waiting for people to go purchase items. They just play defensively at the turrets. They know that there's not really a big threat of EDG, even in a 4-person siege, getting much done.
Featherman manages to get his way to safety thanks to those shifting sands. But with 14 minutes in, only a single kill on the board. Again, a slower pace to the early game. Huni is nowhere near as far ahead as he was in the previous game. And despite the early pains on Koro, he's still late in CS, he's still even on levels, he's still relevant in this game. So EDG are going to have the option to stampede if they can find the right vision and the right position on the map.
Still, no teleport for them at the moment, so Fnatic can send someone down to catch the wave at the tier 2 tower. It's hard for them to push as well due to the fact Deft has so much wave clear. So again, we see how EDG really wants to position on the map. 2 side lanes being pushed in with double teleport, Sivir wave clear in mid over and over, and then you collapse and you get the flank going with Darius and Cassidon. Fnatic should be able to ward against it very easily though, because if EDG are keeping the AD carry mid, they don't have really any pressure. So it's hard for them to invade into the jungle of Fnatic without risking face checking and then get down these deep wards. That's why you see the jungle at the moment is almost empty of EDG wards. So they can't really collapse on Fnatic at the moment. Just have to sit back and try and farm because you have Thomas like behind.
Dragon's a few minutes away. Crowd is definitely anticipating the next move. 1,000 gold separates these teams. Farm looking better and better for EDG as that Rod of Age is slowly stacking up. It's a couple minutes late for Dawn, but not too terrible. Dragon's going to be about 3 minutes away. 2 minutes rather, as the clock just pops up. So let's see if EDG can set up any vision or look to challenge. They've got a couple of wards in that area.
Just got a few put in there. Fnatic do have the chance to go back and get some pink wards as well before it. But this push in the mid is again what we're going to keep seeing. There's no wave clear at the moment, and Jinx will take down these towers.
Are they going to pull the trigger?
Misstep from EDG. Mirko gets head-butted backwards, and that Slicing Maelstrom does nothing. Apprehend pulls Reignover back, and he's going to be the sacrificial queen of the Xur side. Rekkles is left a little bit alone, and Koro has got the Noxian Might. Flash comes out from Clearlove, but Rekkles manages to get away. Super Mega Death Rocket gets a kill, gets a reset, gets Rekkles excited. He's got a double. He's looking for the triple. Look for the zap. Is it on cooldown? Not going to get fired just yet. A 2 for 2.
A bit of a weird fight for Fnatic. Engage happened. Very nice headbutt from Yellowstar first against Mako. Getting that cannon ulti away, but Febron had to teleport in. A bit delayed, and they had to give up at least Reignover at first.
And again, you are left with Jinx and Azir up though, so Fnatic can take an objective afterwards. They get a lot of damage on that turret. Mid lane pressure here. They don't stick around for it actually because of the early revive times here for EDG so far. Did get about half of it.
Keep seeing this mix for Fnatic in terms of how they want to play the game. Last game it was, okay, Rekkles, you just sit on your own in lane, Huni we camp for you over and over. This game, they've been giving all the big waves to Rekkles on this Jinx, letting him farm up as much as possible, and that's paying off in this fight. But look at how late Febron is going to be in the party.
big difference there was also teleport use for EDG. Almost everybody used their flashes, one left on each side, but now Fnatic do have the teleport advantage, and we can see a cross-map play after this. There's the Emperor's Divide, though, to put a stop to the Stampede and allow Fnatic to counterattack here to pick up the double. And remember, they also got the turret out of that as well.
As we jump back into game, Huni was under pressure from Echo, Koro, and Def, but he does get out alive. The rest of Fnatic, are they grouped in the middle lane?
Why is EDG sending Def to try and gank someone? He needs to sit in mid and always wave clear, so Fnatic cannot just keep pushing the waves up so easily and then rotate between the lanes. Look here now, suddenly see that both Dragon and bot lane towers open because Fnatic freely got to push mid tower and just move through the jungle.
Second Dragon should be picked up there for 0 cost to Fnatic. Huni gets the big top lane farm.
Oh, he got the whole turret, not even just damage off of it.
Grabs that tower, and they extend their lead further and further away. That Stampede becomes less and less worrying when you're charging at them with bunnies instead of rhinoceroses.
Yeah. You can't afford to misallocate your resources if you only have one real wave clear there.
Especially because
Def time
Kassadin
in transit costs them a whole turret and dragon.
Kassadin is so key to catching off the targets and just chase after them, slow them down your own single target damage. EDG today, whenever they're falling behind, have shown us very poor shot calling. Randomly kind of move members around, don't really know how to react to what Fnatic is bringing.
But you could say that's true of their World Championship showing thus far.
Sure.
It's been a tough showing for EDG. They fell so far behind the Bangkok Titans. Had to pull that game back. And as a team, they just seem to be coming apart a little bit, despite Koro returning. They find themselves in another incredibly difficult situation as they get to 20 minutes. They're down that 4,000 gold. And Fnatic poised to advance to the semifinals, poised to go to Brussels.
Yeah, things do look very difficult for EDG right now. If you want to try and look at it from their point of view, they have to now rely on a mistake, an unforced error from Fnatic, because all their big playmaking abilities are down. All the flashes were blown. Both teleports were blown in the last one. So right now they're just trying to play defensive vision, sort of wait for the big flashes to come back, because it's an all-in team. You pop Sivir ultimate, you try and have everybody pile on, and jump back and hope that you can burst down someone from Fnatic. Meanwhile, Fnatic keep taking more, not allowing EDG a moment.
Red buff stolen away. Feathervin takes away a bunch of hit points on that top tower. And with Huni has teleport available, he is matching Pawn's split push.
With no TP on the side of EDG. So again, they invest everything onto that fight in mid lane, trade 2 for 2 and even lose a tower. That was kind of the way for EDG to get back in the game, because they're going to keep trying to split push with the Kassadin. But Fnatic also runs double teleport this game because February knows what's going to happen. So he can also sit in the side lanes and try and at least push it back.
And we've got a little bit of time here, and we've mentioned how EDG have struggled this series. I think a little bit of props to Fnatic. There was a fair amount of fear from local fans that Fnatic may be a little shaky. Their week 1 performance wasn't great. Their game against AHQ had a couple of questions, and as a team, the week's prep has seemed to pay off.
Yeah, I think a very big deal for Fnatic is they're showing us more champions that fits the meta really well. Jinx for Reckless is so key for me because he was playing Sivir and Kennen as basically only AD carry all the time. Was that going to be a big issue? Turns out that EDG thought it was, so they picked him away, but he just picks Jinx instead.
And it's even more funny that even if they have Reckless on the end game carry and they're feeding him all this farm, they still have Huni on a snowball champion Riven, who is actually playing a sort of utility role. He's split pushing so well, using the mobility so well to gain map advantages for his team. Meanwhile, they get their tank that they need in the support pick. Yellow Star on the Alistar. His ultimate is one of the only supports that can really turn into a mid-game and late-game tank because of the power of his ultimate. And here he goes, playmaking as well.
And a flash forward, that unbreakable will is up. Milov's been caught. He does have flash, and Yellow Star may have bitten off more than he can chew. Pawn is looking to chase with Riftwalk. Here comes Reckless. The Mega Death Rocket does not find a target, and Yellow Star sent home with a drink in hand. Milov drops the cast. And they get one, punishing the engage.
Well, Yellowstar went
That
a
was
little
a
bit
large
crazy.
man to pick a fight with.
Yeah, a little bit crazy in that one.
Teleport behind, gentlemen. Koro wants Fnatic blood. Maiko comes in and Rainover holds him in place. Featherman puts the golden disc down, but it may not be enough. The apprehend pulls Reckless backwards, and EDG will not go down without a fight. There's a double kill for Huni, but it's matched by a triple kill for Koro.
Great job by EDG pouncing on Fnatic with the opening that they created. That Yellowstar made that unforced error we were looking for the EDG fans, and EDG are able to jump on them for it. Fnatic need to calm down. They still have the advantage here. They can still pull this back. They just have to wait for everyone to regain map control. But look at EDG. They don't let Fnatic get away with that mistake.
And we see what their comp can do when it gets to take these fights here, chasing onto the backline. But why is Fnatic staying? You just lost your support and you're against double teleport. Why would you ever start pushing? That's what EDG really can punish. Great move here, get the flank, get Featherman down instantly, and they win the fight. Fnatic cannot make another one of those mistakes, because then suddenly they cast it in and so on and start getting completely out of control.
Yeah, I still think that Fnatic can regain control of this
100%.
fairly easily, though.
Still in the lead. Kobe, you've talked about the ribbon, the snowballs ahead or snowballs behind. At this stage where he's got a small CS advantage, what's the relative power level of this between, I don't know, Yamcha and Super Saiyan? No, but seriously.
Pre-Super Saiyan Gohan.
For Huni, not the...
Actually, it's a Piccolo.
It's a Piccolo?
Yeah.
One arm or two?
Two.
Okay, we'll stop. We completely lost the fish.
You're going too
completely lost the fish. Dragon has respawned in the meantime. And EDG are the ones with control of the river for now. They've pulled it out.
This is bold by EDG.
Fnatic might want to try and rush a Baron instead and force EDG away from it. Huni's down here on the bottom side, trying to be annoying. There's no teleport this time around for EDG, so harder to get that flank going. Fnatic really wants to get a 5-on-5 team fight, where they can protect Reckless and Featherman.
Where they can set up as well. Again, the teleports are down. They have to work around these big cooldowns of the teleports and the flashes from EDG. EDG, every time they have these up, then they make the big all-in play.
Risky for EDG. Now look here. Huni's on the side. Fnatic was looking to pull the trigger.
Huni wasn't able to find the angle in EDG. They are drawing this game out. That gold lead is shrinking in a relative value. And that's their first sort of aggressive, positive play that we've seen in a long period of time.
They've shown that they still have bite. Fnatic not afraid, though.
Wow, this Yellowstar engaging and then putting his team in a disadvantageous position and actually cost Fnatic the control in the map.
Sure, but like that mistake, okay, that happens. You back away, then if you are Fnatic, you don't start pushing against EDG with two TPs behind.
That was a
mistakes.
compounded event, yeah.
That was really the big one for me, at least. Now, Huni, we talk about him on this Riven. This game is not going to be about him. It's Featherman and Reckless, the damage they can deal in these big team fights. If Huni can be annoying and trade his life for death, it's almost worth it every single time for them.
And this is where the absence of Tahm Kench this time around really does start to mean something. Def does not have too much safety here against Kassadin. Kassadin, now that Pawn also has Azonias, can jump right in, chunk him out, and look for the re-engage with the rest of the Sivir-boosted team.
See if they can enable those reset dunks from Koro on that knocks into your team.
And that's the one for me as well. With Kassadin, he can go in and be annoying, but he needs the rest of the team to follow him. He needs to set up that Darius to get that first kill. So Flash and TP for Koro are so key in these big team fights, because otherwise he's just running at them with this big axe, and it's very difficult for him to get to the backline against an Azir wall, against an Alistar and all this kind of CC. So really Koro's positioning in these fights can win the game for EDG.
40 to 50 seconds on both Flash and Teleport for Koro. Pawn not far off, so EDG will have all their summoners available shortly for Fnatic. They farmed themselves up a game, a noticeable lead. They know the teleports are down, and EDG are going to be so late to this Baron party. Nella and Maiko are nearby, but Pawn And Koro are not. Baron's going low, 1,000 HP. It will be secured as Reignover smites it down. Yellowstar's in the front line drawing attention, and Maiko, he's dropped. Reckless is looking to run down Clearlove. Pawn has arrived, and Hooney's on the back line. Featherfin gets the kill. It's the carries Defisho wanted to see. The key strike will stun up EDG as Yellowstar re-engages. He gives his life for the cause, and a flash forward for Reignover gets the knock up, the shut down, the kill for Featherfin. Koro's down, and Fnatic with a 4-on-3 siege.
Redemption play for Yellowstar there out of the Baron pit. Didn't even have to use Flash for that engage. They take the Baron and they're able to clean up right afterwards. Now the Baron empowered siege. Fnatic can push into inhibitors.
This Alistar pick here again for Yellowstar. When they take Baron, he's always denying the enemy jungler the chance to try and smite it. Headbutts him away. It's very, very smart play from Fnatic, but also EDG trying to take a blue buff. While Fnatic is sitting around that Baron for the last 5-6 minutes with no teleport. Super risky, and they got punished.
With all the damage that Fnatic had, you know, the 3 lanes of threat, they can burn this down. They have Hooney.
And look at Yellowstar.
Hooney didn't even have to teleport in. He just followed along. So Vivin absolutely destroying the support cannon there.
He didn't even get the blue buff.
Not worth. Well, EDG out of position, and Fnatic punish it ruthlessly.
Now he's gonna get it.
They can taste
He was preparing
victory.
the blue buff.
Hey, it'll have a longer duration now.
Yeah, well played.
1 blue for 5 purples.
Good trade, good trade.
You actually stumped me with that one. Kobe.
Wait, you don't...
No, I know.
Baron-
I know. It's 5 purple buffs, but it's not the same value by any stretch of the imagination.
I think that's the whole point here.
You need to add
Thank
the
you, Trevor.
Kappa to the
Actually,
end of that one.
Yellowstar doesn't have one. It's only 4. Now is it worth?
Okay, there we go, there we go. I'll take that trade. I'll take that trade. Reckless with that BT, Edge, and Shiv pushing a wave in. Pow Pow wants to take down this inner turret. Featherfin did so much work to drop it low earlier.
He's gonna flank.
Let's find out.
They have to win this fight.
Is thrown for death. The body slam gets interrupted, and Clearlove cannot chase further thanks to the Flame Chompers. Reckless takes him down as Koro and EDG are running for their lives. The Flash Wind Slash does not dash anybody's life, and Hooney is alive thanks to Face of the Mountain. Yellowstar saves his life. The AoE rockets from Reckless get the second of the fight. They've got the tower and they're on the inhib.
Once again, I'm looking at Yellowstar in these fights here. We mentioned how Koro has to be able to get to the back line to get the reset instantly. Headbutts him away, zones away here, make sure his carries are sitting so far back they can deal the damage, and EDG couldn't get a flank.
Also, for Vivin laying down the soldiers as they kite, and then instantly turning. So much DPS coming out of this Fnatic lineup.
Fnatic have broken the base of EDG at 30 minutes.
And the coordination for EDG seems to completely died. Why don't you have a double teleport with home guards coming in here? If this is the fight you're looking for, look how hard it is to reach the backline. Yellowstar denies Koro, and suddenly 2 carries are sitting back here from Fnatic, and nobody's even close. The Castellan didn't even have a chance to reach him. You gotta coordinate the double teleport in if you wanna aim for these 2 carries.
So close to killing Hooney. Hooney wants to kill Pawn. They are equal on level. There's a flash available for Pawn, so he's going to buy some time. Rift walks over the wall, then flashes away. Gets caught by the zap.
Keep going for Vivin.
And
Don't let him get away with this.
Not that time. No flash. Pawn manages to get away, but Fnatic have the Dragon. That's their 3rd.
Yep, they're going to shove right up bottom lane here as well. Darius actually is getting a pretty good push on top, so it'll buy them some time. EDG, though, definitely very difficult defense coming up.
Well, Fnatic looking to be the 2nd European team in the top 4 at the 2015 World Championship. They need to knock over 1 more Nexus. And they've got EDG against the ropes.
They've looked so good this series as well. After stumbling in week 1 of the group stages, Fnatic have made such a good recovery here at Worlds.
And it's a team that really prides themselves in being able to prepare for these best out of 5 so well. They talked about how they didn't have enough time to prepare for week 1. Didn't have enough information maybe to prepare, and now it's probably going to be a kill.
Well, the great chase continues. Born's going to rift walk over. He might be able to kill Febiven, and he does! Born gets one before Reckless zaps him down. Gets excited and looks for more.
Yeah, he's got the double buff here on Reckless as well, but doesn't pull out the chase. Fnatic now, they do have minion wave pushing in top. Even without Febiven, they might decide to push this up because Febiven does have teleport, so they can prep the siege while he's dead.
Gotta farm the jungle.
And have him teleport in. Yeah, well, Huni's been playing the utility role this time around. He's got the Ghost Blade even with the early Last Whisper here.
Is that a support item?
Yes, the support Ghost Blade.
Well, Huni's continuing to pull side lane pressure and threat. Farmed up another CS advantage.
It's a really, really important thing too, because earlier in the group stages, several times, Huni will be sort of wandering through the jungle and get caught and cost the team a kill. However, this game, he's done so well at escaping every single time. Not every single time. Most of the time when EDG collapsed.
The rest of the team was able to secure buffs. I mean, Koro and Pawn were moving towards their bottom lane that Huni was pushing in when Fnatic took the first Baron. 6,000 gold Baron power play. The 6th largest, in fact, of all Baron plays at the World Championship.
Baron has been wearing the Fnatic jersey today, that's for sure. He's been helping out a lot, but really for EDG, seems to me they were surprised with Fnatic changing up the strategy from time to time. Now the fact they suddenly play around Reckless a lot more as the carry, and Febiven, of course, in the mid lane instead of Huni. But EDG maybe were expecting every game to somewhat be the same. Okay, they're going to camp for Huni, and then we're going to try and shut it down. Yeah,
EDG to me look like a team that's still trying to adapt to the world's meta. They tried to pull off the 4 global comp, after seeing it such success here at Worlds in such a short time. They tried to learn it and use it, and then in such a short time, they also try and use the Veigar Siege comp after seeing it here, but it didn't work out for them either. Fnatic burning this Baron down.
Oh, they've got it before EDG are even in range, and Yellowstone started to initiate. Pawn is knocked up in the air so long he may as well have frequent flyer miles. Pawn will try to rift walk away and get shut down. Rainover is out. It's a double for Reckless. He wants to run down more. Def, his brother in arms, will be his dead man in arms. That's a triple. Huni finds Clear Love in the back, and Reckless with the rest of Fnatic. They're on to the Nexus, and Fnatic will advance to the semi-finals. The only team to do that 3 times in the World Championships. Fantastic play from Fnatic, and great to see sportsmanship between Reckless and Deft. But truthfully, on this day, Fnatic simply outplayed EDG in almost every way.
Hey, we had a lot of questions coming in here for Fnatic. We didn't know what other AD carries they would play. Would they sometimes play around Reckless? And they did.
The euphoria is running high, with China now being eliminated from the World Championship. The only teams that remain are from Korea and Europe. We're down to 3 semi-finals locked in, and 1 more to face Fnatic tomorrow. But for Fnatic, what a way to go. 3-0 against EDG.
Very, very impressive series from Fnatic. And the teams tomorrow, the Korean teams going up against each other, are going to be looking at this as well.